Chapter 3495, Fantasy Alliance, Kang Heaven World. Yama was very confident. Although he was not Elder Darkbone's opponent and did not dare to fight him directly, he was confident that Elder Darkbone would not be able to do anything to him. Moreover, if he tried his best to stop him, Elder Darkbone would not be able to get away from him and get the chance to kill Da Ying. It seems like this old man is indeed having a hard time getting past you. Elder Darkbone nodded, but then he laughed. Haha, I didn't expect that after roaming the Divine Beginning Realm for so long, I would one day be stopped by a peak level 6 Void Realm expert. Moreover, there's nothing I can do. Underworld Emperor, you're really capable. You flatter me, but the truth is right in front of us. Elder Darkbone, and everyone here, listen to my advice and leave, said Underworld Emperor. However, upon hearing this, Elder Darkbone laughed even more happily. Haha, interesting, this is really interesting. Beside the battlefield, Lifefall King, who had his hands behind his back, also smiled and said, Elder Darkbone, you have lost a lot of face this time. I have no choice. This old man did not expect that this Underworld Emperor actually knew the illusory heaven technique of the Fantasy Alliance. Moreover, he has already cultivated this secret technique to the great success stage. All the illusory bodies and the original body have long merged into one and can change at any time. I really can't do anything to him, said Elder Darkbone casually. Well, it's strange that he has cultivated the illusionary heaven skill to the profound realm. It's worthy of being one of the 6 secret skills of the Fantasy Alliance. Lifefall King nodded. Elder Darkbone and Lifefall King were talking to each other. They seemed to be having a pleasant conversation, which confused Jian Wushuang, Xiaoa, and Spirit Ancestor. Pluto's face darkened. How? How do you know the secret skill I used? And you know that I used the secret skill from the Fantasy Alliance? Elder Darkbone and Lifefall King looked at each other and laughed even more happily. Haha, Pluto, it's not your fault. Although I've been in the universe battlefield for a long time, I've never been to the Fantasy Alliance before, so I don't know the secret skill of the Fantasy Alliance. However, by chance, I've made a good friend. He's the one who came with me this time, Lifefall King. Elder Darkbone laughed. Lifefall King, introduce yourself. Sure. Lifefall King nodded slightly and looked at Pluto. He said in a low voice, I come from the Kang Heaven World, which is right next to the Fantasy Alliance. Besides, the Kang Heaven World and the Fantasy Alliance have always been mortal enemies. Since we are mortal enemies, of course I know some secret techniques of the Fantasy Alliance, and I know them very well. What? Pluto was shocked. He looked at Lifefall King in shock. This person in front of him came from the universe battlefield, and just happened to come from the Fantasy Alliance's mortal enemy, the Kang Heaven World. Pluto, now you know. Elder Darkbone continued to laugh. I have been with Lifefall King for a long time. During our conversation, I naturally heard about the Fantasy Alliance. Of course, I also heard about the Fantasy Sky technique. Therefore, when you used this secret technique, Lifefall King probably recognized it at a glance. After I used 2 slashes consecutively, I also confirmed that it was this secret technique. Humph. Even if you know the origin of my secret technique, so what? You still can't get around me to kill Da Ying. Pluto said coldly. Oh, is that so? Elder Darkbone grinned. Idiot. Lifefall King laughed disdainfully. Our Kang Heaven World and the Fantasy Alliance are mortal enemies. Both sides have been fighting for many years, so we already know everything. The few powerful secret techniques of the Fantasy Alliance, including their weaknesses, do you think the Kang Heaven World doesn't know? You can use this secret technique to deal with other people, even if you want to deal with Elder Darkbone, but you shouldn't have used it. You shouldn't have used it in front of me. However, it's not your fault. The Fantasy Alliance is extremely far away from the Divine Beginning Realm. It's because I've been wandering in the universe all year round that I came here and met Elder Darkbone. Under normal circumstances, the Divine Beginning Realm, the Fantasy Alliance, or the Kang Heaven World wouldn't have any contact with each other. Moreover, there are very few experts in the Fantasy Alliance, and most of their time is spent cultivating in the Fantasy Alliance. They rarely move around in the universe battlefield. Even if you want to move around, You have to at least reach the pinnacle of the Principal's Masters, and you obviously haven't reached that level yet. That is to say, you aren't a powerful warrior or disciple of the Fantasy Alliance at all. You just happen to get the Fantasy Sky technique left behind by the Fantasy Alliance and are good at cultivating this secret technique. Otherwise, if you knew that I was present, you wouldn't have dared to say such words just now. Hearing these words, Pluto suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart. That was right, he was not a powerful warrior of the Fantasy Alliance. He had never been to the Fantasy Alliance. He did not even know where the Fantasy Alliance was. He had only learned this secret technique by chance when he was adventuring in the universe battlefield. And now, he was pointed out by Lifefall King. And it was obvious that Lifefall King knew how to deal with the illusion sky technique. Lifefall King, although this person isn't a disciple of the Fantasy Alliance, he has cultivated the illusion sky technique of the Fantasy Alliance after all. So, he has more or less been related to the Fantasy Alliance. Then, this matter is related to you from the Kang Heaven world. So, I'll leave this underworld emperor to you. How about it? Elder Darkbone said with a strange smile. Sure. Lifefall King did not refuse. Before this, he did not care much about killing Da Ying or the Blood Clan leader. The reason why he came was because of Elder Darkbone. Even if he attacked, it was just to give face to Elder Darkbone. But now, the person in front of him was related to the Fantasy Alliance. That was his own matter. Those who are related to the Fantasy Alliance must die. Lifefall King's eyes were cold as he stared at Pluto. He waved his hand and a strange black pearl was thrown out. This pearl appeared on the battlefield before it exploded. As the pearl exploded, a strange power spread in the surrounding void space. As this power spread, the 1,000 figures gathered by Pluto started to dim. What's going on? The Underworld Emperor was shocked when he saw the scene around him. In just a short while, the black-robed figures around him disappeared completely, leaving only his original body standing there. The Underworld Emperor's expression was ugly. He wanted to use the illusory heaven technique again, but he immediately found that there seemed to be some special things in the void around him that prevented him from forming an illusion. He could not even form one illusion, let alone the thousands of illusions. At this moment, the Lifefall King's voice sounded. I said that your illusion sky technique won't work before I'm full. Chapter 3496 Sorcerer God Scum of the Fantasy Alliance, Die. Lifefall King's voice was cold and murderous as he pointed out with a finger. This finger carried a strange power. The moment he pointed out, the void in front of him shattered. A huge and dark vortex appeared out of thin air. This vortex was vast and boundless, like a prehistoric giant beast that was crazily devouring everything around it. Following that, from within the vortex, a huge dark finger that seemed to extend from boundless hell charged toward the Underworld Emperor with destructive power. The Underworld Emperor stood there and looked at the huge dark finger that extended in front of him. His expression changed greatly in fear. This power, the pinnacle of the 6 states of the void, it is at least at the pinnacle of the 6 states of the void. It is even stronger than the blade light of Elder Darkbone. How is this possible? How can there be an existence stronger than Elder Darkbone among the experts present today? Pluto growled. He frantically tried to use his illusory heaven technique, but it was useless. He wanted to dodge the giant finger, but he was horrified to find that the giant dark finger had completely locked him down, preventing him from moving at all. He could only watch as the giant finger of darkness continued to enlarge in front of him. In the end, the giant finger of darkness was not affected at all and directly struck Pluto. Bang! A low rumble sounded, and the void shook. After the giant finger of darkness displayed its full power, it slowly dissipated in the world. At this moment, Pluto's body had already been pushed to the ground by the giant finger. Even the ground had a huge hole. Pluto was at the bottom of the hole. He struggled to stand up slowly, however, his expression was no longer as relaxed as before. There was a miserable and pathetic look on his face. The black robe on his body was formed from a protective treasure. However, it was in tatters now. There was still blood on his body and the corner of his mouth. Especially the aura on his body. Compared to before, it was weakened by more than 40%. Too powerful. One attack has consumed more than 40% of my divine power. If I use this attack twice more, I will definitely die. Pluto raised his head and looked at Lifefall King with fear. Lifefall King frowned. He murmured, "The restriction of this world is too great for me. I can't even use 10% of my strength. I can't even kill an ant at the peak of the 6th void realm with one attack." Lifefall King was not satisfied with the result of his attack. However, the surrounding people, such as Jian Wushuang and the others, had long been amazed. As expected of a ruler-level expert, even an outsider, whose strength is limited by the power of the will of heaven, cannot exert more than 10% of his strength. However, even with less than 10% of his strength, he can still easily crush Pluto and cause him to lose more than 40% of his divine power in one attack. I'm afraid that even Elder Darkbone cannot match his strength. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart. Previously, Lifefall King said that he was too restricted and that the strength he could display in the divine beginning realm was not that great, so he could not count on him for this move. But now, it seemed that Lifefall King was too modest. Or it could be said that previously, Lifefall King did not have anything to do with him, so he did not want to personally make a move, so he deliberately said this. But now, because it involved the Fantasy Alliance, he had to personally make a move. The strength he displayed immediately frightened everyone. Lifefall King, your opponent is just a little guy at the peak of the 6th level of the void. Don't lose face in front of so many people. Elder Darkbone laughed weirdly. Humph, do I still need you to say it? Lifefall King's eyes turned cold, and a suffocating pressure suddenly erupted from his body. Die. Lifefall King pointed his finger out again. This finger crushed the time and space in the world. In an instant, a dark demon god that was over 30,000 feet tall appeared in the void. This dark demon god had 3 eyes. The third eye shot out a strange purple beam of light. With a violent swing of its huge arm, a huge fist that was like a huge, boundless dark star appeared. It carried an incomparable impact force and attacked Pluto ferociously. This dark star was even more powerful than the dark finger that Lifefall King had just used. Clearly, Lifefall King was serious. He had pushed the power that he could use in the divine beginning realm to the extreme. Visit Ria Del. Me for extra chapters. The dark star formed by this punch made Pluto's expression change drastically. One had to know that Lifefall King's finger had used up more than 40% of his divine power. And now, this even stronger punch was likely enough to destroy all of his remaining divine power. Save me. Master, save me. Pluto knew that he could not block that punch. He would most likely die in that punch. Thus, he did not have the slightest intention to block it. Instead, he directly crushed a dark green token in his hand. Moreover, he let out a series of explosive roars. The moment that command talisman shattered, a majestic aura instantly rose up and filled the void. When that dark demon god's fist smashed over, circles of dark air currents also blocked it. When that dark demon god's fist smashed against the dark air currents, it was as though it had smashed into cotton. It did not cause too much of a commotion, but its power was completely neutralized. Oh! Lifefall King frowned and raised his head to look ahead. Haha, Lifefall King, with your status and strength, you actually attacked one of my subordinates. Isn't that a little too much? Within the dark chi flow, a hearty laughter rang out. Following that, a hazy figure slowly appeared in front of everyone. This hazy figure was quite tall, and the aura it emitted was extremely unique. As for its appearance, no one could see it clearly. However, even if no one could see his face clearly, they could still guess his identity. Sorcerer God. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. The Sorcerer God's sect had always stood together with the 3 Saint Realms. Back on the Sohar Island, the Sorcerer God had appeared and killed him together with the 3 Masters of the Saint Realm, but he had been repelled by him. Now, Jian Wushuang saw the Sorcerer God again. However, judging from his appearance, the Sorcerer God should be just a consciousness avatar, not the real body. Sorcerer God, are you going to stop me? Lifefall King stared at the Sorcerer God coldly. No matter what, Yama is my subordinate. If you want to kill him, I can't pretend that I didn't see it, the sorcerer god said with a faint smile. So, you want to make an enemy of me and the Kang Heaven world? Lifefall King said coldly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3497 The Final Kill. Making an enemy out of you. Making an enemy out of the Kang Heaven world? The sorcerer god frowned. To be honest, he was not afraid of a single Lifefall King, but if it was the entire Kang Heaven world, then it would be completely different. The Kang Heaven world was an extremely powerful force even in the universe battlefield. Although it was quite far away from the divine beginning realm, the influence of the Kang Heaven world could still reach here. If they really became enemies with the entire Kang Heaven world, there were quite a number of ruler-level experts in the Kang Heaven world, and there were quite a number of them who were stronger than him. Some of the top existences among them even had the qualifications to kill him directly. Hence, the sorcerer god was more or less afraid of the Kang Heaven world. Lifefall King, although we haven't had much contact before, I still know your great name and the Kang Heaven world behind you. Your Kang Heaven world is the mortal enemy of the Fantasy Alliance, and I'm clear about this. However, this subordinate of mine isn't a member of the Fantasy Alliance. If I say that protecting him is equivalent to offending the entire Kang Heaven world, isn't that a little unreasonable? The sorcerer god said in a low voice. What a joke. This subordinate of yours has cultivated the illusory heaven technique of the Fantasy Alliance. How can he not be considered a member of the Fantasy Alliance? Even if he isn't, he has a great relationship with the Fantasy Alliance. Our Kang Heaven world naturally has to be killed. Lifefall King said coldly. Pluto has cultivated the illusory heaven technique, but this is just a fortuitous encounter where he obtained the cultivation method of the Fantasy Heaven technique. He has never had any contact with the Fantasy Alliance. You should be able to see this point. After all, if he really had any contact with the Fantasy Alliance, he would have long been brought to the Fantasy Alliance's lair to cultivate. Why would he stay under my command? Sorcerer god said. Who knows why he would stay under your command? In any case, kill him, just in case. Lifefall King snorted coldly. Lifefall King. The sorcerer god's voice became gloomy. I have already explained it over and over again. Do you still want to be so aggressive? Alright, I will tell you now. This Yama King is my soul slave. He has long been controlled by my consciousness and is my most loyal servant. You should also know a little about my background. I have nothing to do with the Fantasy Alliance. Soul slave. Lifefall King's expression changed, and there was a hint of surprise between his brows. If Pluto was only a subordinate of the sorcerer god, then Lifefall King had a reason to kill him. But if it was the sorcerer god's soul slave, then Pluto's consciousness was completely controlled by the sorcerer god. Then it did not matter whether Pluto was related to the Fantasy Alliance or not. As long as the sorcerer god did not have any entanglement with the Fantasy Alliance, it would be fine. As for the sorcerer god's background, of course, Lifefall King knew some things. Indeed, he would not have any entanglement with the Fantasy Alliance. Sorcerer god, you said that he was your soul slave. How do you prove this? Lifefall King asked. It's very simple. I asked him not to resist. You just need to use your soul power to check if he has my soul imprint in his body, the sorcerer god said, but before you check, I have to warn you. Don't do anything to him in the dark. After all, this slave is quite useful to me. If you dare to do something to him in the dark, then even if you are from the Kang Heaven world, I will have a way to make you pay the price. After all, this is the divine beginning realm. The restrictions you have here are much greater than mine. Don't worry. If he really is your soul slave, then I won't do anything to him. Lifefall King nodded. Then, a wave of soul power directly covered Pluto. Pluto did not resist. In just a moment, Lifefall King withdrew that wave of soul power. How is it? Sorcerer God looked over. You're right. He is indeed your soul slave. In that case, I won't make things difficult for him for your sake, Lifefall King said. That's good. The sorcerer god nodded slightly. But at this moment, Jian Wushuang spoke, Sorcerer God, Lifefall King was generous and did not kill your soul slave. But today's matter has nothing to do with your Sorcerer God sect. If you still want to get involved, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep your soul slave. What Jian Wushuang said was the truth. Although Lifefall King would not attack again, because Lifefall King had just broken Yama's illusion sky skill and the power of the pearl was still surrounding the surrounding void, in this place. Yama would not be able to use the illusion sky skill again. As long as there was no illusion sky skill, Elder Darkbone could easily defeat or kill him. As for the Sorcerer God himself, he was just a consciousness clone. His combat strength was not very strong, so he did not have much influence on the situation on the battlefield. Heavenly Sword Marquis, the Sorcerer God looked at Jian Wushuang with a strange look in his eyes and then smiled. Little guy, last time I suffered a great loss at your hands. I thought I would not be able to deal with you so quickly. I did not expect that things would be unpredictable. Now we have seen it. That's because you're too lenient. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much trouble, Jian Wushuang said. Maybe, but today's matter doesn't have much to do with us. Originally, we just wanted to be a peacemaker, but we didn't expect to get into such a situation. Well, since we can't be good people, we won't get involved in this matter. Do whatever you want. Goodbye. The Sorcerer God said, his figure disappeared. As for Yama, because of the existence of the Netherjade 5 kill array, he could not leave directly. He simply flew to the edge of the void and closed his eyes, no longer paying attention to the matter in front of him. Visit Riadel. Me for extra chapters. When the Sorcerer God's consciousness avatar disappeared, it was clear that Yama did not intend to attack again. This made the Bloodmaster and Da Ying immediately despair. Despair. Yes, despair. Without other helpers, how could the two of them resist Elder Darkbone and Demon Master Chanhua? Not to mention the Netherjade 5 kill formation and Jian Wushuang's existence. They could not escape from the inescapable net and had almost no hope of survival. Bloodmaster and Da Ying, you two should go on your way as soon as possible, Jian Wushuang said coldly. Elder Darkbone and Demon Master Chanhua both smiled coldly. They immediately attacked Bloodmaster and Da Ying. No, no. It's over, it's over. Bloodmaster and Da Ying had completely lost hope. The only thing they could do now was to try their best to survive longer. However, their efforts were clearly in vain. After all, the gap between them was too big. Da Ying was already heavily injured and his strength was greatly reduced. Under the attack of Elder Darkbone, he could not hold on for long before he was directly killed by Elder Darkbone. Then, Elder Darkbone joined hands with the Demon Master Chanhua and killed the Bloodmaster in a very short time. From then on, both the Bloodmaster and Da Ying were killed. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3498 left Jian Wushuang and the others were very happy that their trip had ended perfectly with the death of Da Ying and the Bloodmaster, despite the unexpected incident with Yama. Especially Xiaowa and Spirit Ancestor. For Xiaowa, Da Ying was a thorn in her heart. If she could not kill him, she would not be able to control the Nine-Tailed clan in peace. But now that Da Ying was dead, this thorn in her heart was gone. In the future, she would naturally be able to do whatever she wanted. Only then would her long-term goal be truly accomplished. As for the Spirit Ancestor, her killing intent toward the Bloodmaster was unprecedentedly strong. The Bloodmaster had a grudge against her for killing her husband. For countless years, the Spirit Ancestor had dreamed of killing him, but now he had finally succeeded. He's dead. He's finally dead. Haha, this bastard is finally dead. Husband, you can finally rest in peace. Spirit Ancestor laughed, her laughter was filled with madness, and her eyes were wet with tears. When the people around saw this, they also secretly sighed. Elder Darkbone, Demon Master Chanhua, Marquis Duanyu, and others had also removed the Netherjade 5 kill formation and walked over. Everyone, thank you for your help this time. Marquis, I'm very grateful, Jian Wushuang said solemnly. Axe 1 Master, Marquis Du and Yu, and Star Saint Master looked at each other and smiled. They had long received orders from Star Palace Master to help Jian Wushuang with all their strength, so they would do their best. As for Elder Darkbone, he just smiled faintly. Little guy, don't be too polite. I'm not helping you for free. You have to remember that you owe me a favor this time. You have to pay me back in the future. Of course. In the future, no matter what your orders are, as long as I can do it, I won't refuse, Jian Wushuang said. Don't worry. You'll definitely help me soon, Elder Darkbone said with a strange smile. Well, since we're done here, I'll leave with Lifefall King. This is my message token. I'll use it to contact you when I ask for your help in the future. Elder Darkbone handed a message token to Jian Wushuang, then he left with Lifefall King. Jian Wushuang looked at Xiaowa. Miss Xiaowa, Da Ying is dead. There will be no more trouble in the Nine-Tailed Clan. You can control the Nine-Tailed Clan without any worries. Now that the Bloodmaster is dead, the Blood Clan will be in chaos. If you are ambitious, you can take the opportunity to attack the Blood Clan and continue to strengthen your strength. Blood Clan, Xiaowa narrowed her eyes and shook her head. During this period of time, the demon realm has changed too much. Because of my previous actions, the Nine-Tailed Clan has become the focus of attention. The various races in the demon realm, including the other two great divine clans, the Ancient Clan and the Dark World Clan, have already been on guard against the Nine-Tailed Clan. If our clan continues to attack the Blood Clan at this time, it will be very easy for us to become the target of everyone in the demon realm. It's better not to act rashly for the time being. Please keep reading on MYB0XN0VEL, D0T, C0M. Besides, although the Bloodmaster is dead, the overall strength and foundation of the Blood Clan are still there. It's not easy for the Nine-Tailed Clan to swallow the Blood Clan. It's up to you to decide. As for me, I've done my best to help you. Now that the troubles of the Nine-Tailed Clan have been solved, I can leave, Jian Wushuang said. You're leaving in such a hurry? Xiaowa was surprised. Yes, I've killed the Bloodmaster and fulfilled the agreement with the Spirit Ancestor. I'll go back to the second heaven immediately to finish the thing that's important to me. I've been waiting for that for too long, so I don't want to delay it, Jian Wushuang said. Okay, but your parents, Xiaowa looked at him and asked. They've been in the demon realm for a long time, so they're used to it. Besides, my second brother has just married Princess Ying of the Blood Martin clan, so he hasn't thought about leaving yet. In that case, let them stay in the demon realm for now. After a while, I'll personally pick them up and bring them back to the Endless Territory, Jian Wushuang said. Jian Wushuang had asked Zhou Yunfeng, Luo Xinqin, and the others when they came to the demon realm. They had been in the demon realm for thousands of years and were used to it. Although they were looking forward to returning to their hometown, they were not in a hurry. Visit Ria Del. Me for extra chapters. Moreover, Zhuo Peng and Princess Ying had just married, so they were not in a hurry to go back. Therefore, Jian Wushuang had decided not to take them back to the Sorcerer God's realm for the time being. He would personally escort them back to the Sorcerer God's realm after his business was over. Miss Xiaowa, I'll get rid of you for the time being and continue to take care of them for a while, Jian Wushuang said. Don't worry. As long as the Nine-Tailed Clan is still around, no one can touch them, Xiaowa said. Thank you, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Then he looked at Axe 1 Master, Marquis Du and Yu, and Star Saint Master and asked, what are your plans? We've already said that we'll listen to your arrangements for the time being. However, our identities are a little sensitive, so it's not suitable for us to move around in the primordial divine realm. Therefore, we'll return to Star Palace first. If you have any instructions, you can send us a message at any time. We'll be there immediately, Axe 1 Master said. In that case, I'll have to trouble the three of you, Jian Wushuang said. Axe 1 Master smiled and the three of them turned to leave. Jian Wushuang heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Axe 1 Master and the other two leave. Axe 1 Master, Marquis Du and Yu, Star Saint Master, these three are experts from Star Palace, which was created by Daoist Shen Shun and has a very delicate relationship with the Seven Stars mysterious sect. The reason why they did their best to help me and even said that they were willing to follow my orders was because of my identity. However, from their actions, I can tell that I am very important to the 7-star mysterious sect and the Star Palace. However, Axe One Master just said that their identities are very sensitive and that it is not suitable for them to move around in the divine beginning realm. It seems like the 3 great saint domains also know about the existence of the Star Palace and are extremely against it. However, the 3 great saint realms clearly know about the existence of the Star Palace, yet they are unable to do anything to it. This also shows that the power of the Star Palace is definitely not weak. The Star Palace's strength was not weak. This point could be seen from Axe One Master and the other 2. To send out 3-6 Void Realm Principles Masters at once, how many people in the Divine Beginning Realm could achieve such an ability? It seems that if I have the chance in the future, I will have to personally go to the Star Palace to take a look. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3499 20,000 years the dust had settled in the Blood Clan. Jian Wushuang and the others had also left the Blood Clan. After greeting Zhui Yunfeng and the others, Jian Wushuang planned to leave the Demon Realm and go to the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. When he left, Jian Wushuang glanced at Demon Master Chunhua and asked, "Chunhua, are you really going to leave your disciple alone in the Demon Realm?" "Of course." Demon Master Chunhua nodded. "I've taught him many things and given him many opportunities over the years. His strength has improved a lot, so it's time for him to go on his own. After all, the level of our contact is too high for him. If he continues to follow us, he won't get any experience on the way. It's better for him to go on his own. It'll be more effective." "That's true, but He's still weak. The Demon Realm is too chaotic, and the experts are too weak. Isn't it too dangerous for him to travel alone?" Jian Wushuang said. "Humph, so what if it's dangerous? If you want to become a real expert, which one of you didn't come through a mountain of knives and a sea of fire? I was like that in the past. Aren't you the same?" Demon Master Chunhua glanced at Jian Wushuang. "You're right." Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. After explaining, Jian Wushuang, Demon Master Chunhua, and Spirit Ancestor went directly to the 2nd heaven. When Jian Wushuang entered the 3rd heaven, the power of the will of the heavenly Tao immediately sensed it. Now that he left the 3rd heaven, the power of the will of the heavenly Tao also knew about it. It was transmitted to the few masters of the Saint Realm. In the vast chaotic void, 4 hazy figures gathered together. These 4 people were naturally the 3 masters of the Saint Realm and the Sorcerer God. "We just received the news from the power of the will of heaven. Heavenly Sword Marquis has returned to the 2nd heaven," Flame Saint Master said. "Has he finally left?" Life and Death Saint Master asked in a low voice. Although Heavenly Sword Marquis didn't stay for long in the 3rd heaven, he created huge waves in the Demon Realm within a short period of time. The Nine-Tailed Clan and the Blood Clan underwent drastic changes one after another. The situation in the Demon Realm now is completely different from before. These changes in the Demon Realm are nothing. I was worried that Heavenly Sword Marquis would think of ways to take revenge on the 3 great saint regions after he came to the 3rd heaven. But now, it seems that he still has a trace of rationality and didn't attack the 3 great saint realms, Destruction Saint Master said. "Mph, that's because he isn't stupid. Even though the 3 great saint realms cannot do anything to him, with his strength, even if he has Demon Master Chunhua by his side, he is still far from posing a threat to the 3 great saint realms." Flame Saint Realm said coldly. "Just him alone and Demon Master Chunhua are naturally not enough. But what if we add Star Palace?" Life and Death Saint Master suddenly spoke. Star Palace. The moment the 2 words Star Palace were mentioned, the entire primal chaos void went silent. After a long while, Life and Death Saint Master continued, "Star Palace, the greatest threat to us has already begun to contact Heavenly Sword Marquis. According to the information we have received, the reason why Heavenly Sword Marquis was able to create such a huge wave in the Demon Realm was because of the 3 Principles Masters of Star Palace giving their all to help. As for the three principals masters of Star Palace, even though we do not know their names for the time being, we can be certain that these three have already reached the 6th level of the void. The 6 realms of the void, even our 3 great saint realms, can be counted with one's fingers. But this Star Palace casually sent out 3 of them. What does this mean? Flame Saint Realm and Destruction Saint Master's eyes immediately turned cold. The 6 realms of the void might not have many principals masters in the entire divine beginning realm, yet the Star Palace could send out 3 of them at once. This made them apprehensive. Back then, when I found out about the existence of this Star Palace, I had a bad premonition. Unfortunately, that mysterious god is extremely cunning. He placed the base of the Star Palace in that place, making it impossible for the powers of the 3 great saint realms to reach that place. We can only try our best to suppress the growth of this Star Palace. I did not expect that after so many years of suppression, the growth rate of this Star Palace would still be so astonishing. Until now, the power of this Star Palace is probably not much weaker than any of our saint realms. It might even be stronger. Destruction Saint Master snorted coldly. The Star Palace was indeed a huge threat to them. However, this huge threat had existed for many years, but the 3 saint realms could not do anything about it. It's useless to talk about this now. However, the Star Palace and Heavenly Sword Marquis aren't able to do anything about it. There's no need to be anxious. The 3 saint realms have already received the exact news, Flame Saint Realm said. Visit Riadel. Me for extra chapters. The news. The others immediately looked over. What do you mean? Destruction Saint Master asked. 20,000 years, at most 20,000 years. The people there will arrive at the divine beginning realm. At that time, both Heavenly Sword Marquis and the Star Palace will be eradicated, Flame Saint Realm said. That's great. Destruction Saint Master's eyes brightened. 20,000 years, isn't that a bit too long? Life and Death Saint Master frowned. That Heavenly Sword Marquis is improving at an astonishing speed. 20,000 years, he has a lot of room to grow. See you MH, Life and Death, aren't you overestimating that Heavenly Sword Marquis too much? Even if he is a perfect grade life form with extraordinary talent, given his current strength, given 20,000 years, how much can he grow to? Flame Saint Realm sneered. It's already very good that he can match up to a ruler like his deceased master. Don't forget that Mystic One took a very long time to reach the ruler level. Flame Saint Realm snickered. That's true. Life and Death Saint Master nodded slightly. Alright, since that's the case, well, just wait for another 20,000 years. During these 20,000 years, well, all be careful and try not to take the initiative to have any conflicts with Heavenly Sword Marquis, especially you, Sorcerer God. Destruction Saint Master looked toward the Sorcerer God who had remained silent all this while. Your Sorcerer God's sect has been a little restless all these years. And this time in the demon realm, I heard that your Sorcerer God's sect has also gotten involved. It's nothing. The Sorcerer God laughed dryly. It's just that one of my subordinates, the Blood Clan, has some friendship and decided on his own accord. Is that so? Destruction Saint Master glanced coldly at the Sorcerer God. Of course. The 3 of you have already instructed us before. Naturally, our Sorcerer God's sect will not be blind. At this critical juncture, our relationship with Heavenly Sword Marquis has soared to the sky. However, this time in the Blood Clan's matter, I've also obtained another piece of information. That is the Lifefall King from the Kang Heaven World, and Elder Darkbone. It seems that they are also on Heavenly Sword Marquis' side. The Sorcerer God said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3500 Lowest Risk Lifefall King? Elder Darkbone? Hearing these 2 names, even the 3 Saint Realm Masters' faces darkened. Lifefall King is an extremely powerful ruler from the outside world, and he also comes from the Kang Heaven World. However, he is an expert from the outside world after all, so he will be greatly suppressed by the heavenly Tao in the divine beginning realm. His strength will also be greatly weakened. To put it bluntly, even the three of us Saint Realm Masters can easily suppress him in the divine beginning realm. If the three of us join hands, we can even kill him. He should also know this, so he shouldn't be so stupid as to stand on the side of Heavenly Sword Marquis, Flame Saint Realm said. Yes, he is a mighty ruler who can call the wind and summon the rain in the universe battlefield. There is no need for him to come to the divine beginning realm to take risks. As for the Kang Heaven world behind him, although it isn't weak, it is too far away from the divine beginning realm. It doesn't have the right to meddle in the internal affairs of our divine beginning realm, Destruction Saint Master said. Sorcerer God, are you sure that Lifefall King is completely on Heavenly Sword Marquis' side? Life and Death Saint Master looked at Sorcerer God. Well, I can't say for sure, because in the Battle of the Blood Kindred, Lifefall King didn't make a big move at first. But later, because one of my subordinates used the secret technique of the Fantasy Alliance, he decided that my subordinate had an inseparable relationship with the Fantasy Alliance, so he went all out, Sorcerer God said. That's it. Life and Death Saint Master smiled. The Fantasy Alliance and the Kang Heaven world are mortal enemies. If he sees someone related to the Fantasy Alliance, he will not let them go. It seems like this Lifefall King doesn't want to meddle in the internal affairs of the divine beginning realm. He only acted because of your subordinate, Destruction Saint Master said. Chimph, I knew it. A ruler shouldn't be so stupid, Flame Saint Realm snorted. You don't need to care about this Lifefall King, but that Elder Darkbone is a little tricky, Life and Death Saint Master said coldly. When we were on Sohar Island, our three great holy realms set up an inescapable net to kill Heavenly Sword Marquis. At that time, Elder Darkbone helped Heavenly Sword Marquis get out of danger. Although at that time, he said it was just to return a favor for his disciple, but is it really worth him to offend our three great holy realms with just a favor for a disciple? At that time, I felt that his actions were a little strange. This time, he appeared to help the Heavenly Sword Marquis. It seems that he is indeed on the Heavenly Sword Marquis' side. It seems that this old thing is also restless. Flame Saint Realm snorted coldly. That's normal. Has someone from the same era as Temporal Temple Master and Heaven Cleaving Alliance Master. Has extremely old and has stayed in the divine beginning realm for God knows how many years. Moreover, his strength has already reached the peak of the Principal's Masters. With his strength reaching this level and being alone, he should have no qualms about going to the depths of the universe to explore. However, after so many years, he has been staying here. How could he not have other motives? Destruction Saint Master narrowed his eyes. Now it seems that the old ghost bone has chosen to stay, it is likely to be related to the Star Palace. This old thing, the eyes of the three masters of the Saint Realm were cold, but at the same time, they were helpless. Elder Darkbone was famous for his tyrannical methods. Even if he was facing a true ruler-level expert in a cosmic battlefield, he could still survive. However, in the divine beginning realm, just the three of them, it's almost impossible to kill a Gowl. Just as they could not do anything to Jian Wushuang, they could not do anything to Elder Darkbone. Forget it, let them be proud for a while. After 20,000 years, when the people there arrive, they will uproot the Star Palace, the Heavenly Sword Marquis, and the Elder Darkbone. This time, we must get rid of all the things left behind by the Seven-Star Mysterious Sect. We must not leave any trouble behind. The three masters of the Saint Realm had already made their decision, and they quickly disappeared into the chaotic void. As for the Sorcerer God, after the three masters of the Saint Realm disappeared, he also gave a strange smile and disappeared with them. Second Heaven, Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. After leaving the third heaven, Jian Wushuang, Demon Master Chunhua, and Spirit Ancestor came straight here. After they arrived, Jian Wushuang directly sent a message to the old valley master, Ma Yi, who led them into the hinterland of the valley. My young friend, I heard that you have caused a lot of trouble in the demon realm recently. Ma Yi asked casually. Visit Ria Del. Me for extra chapters. Yes, senior, do you know about it? Jian Wushuang glanced at Ma Yi. Of course, although I have long ignored the matters in the valley, once something big happens in the divine beginning realm, someone will inform me immediately, especially you. Of course, I, the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley, also care about it. Ma Yi smiled. I heard that you went to the Blood Clan and killed the clan leader of the Blood Clan? If I'm not wrong, you went to kill the clan leader because of spirit ancestor, right? Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Killing the clan leader was a condition set by spirit ancestor. Now that the condition has been met, spirit ancestor will follow me to the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. Senior Hempyi, with spirit ancestor's knowledge of the soul, you should be able to minimize the risk by stripping Shuang Er's soul, right? Of course, although I have stayed in the valley all year round, I have heard of the great name of the spirit ancestor. In the divine beginning realm, in terms of the attainments in the soul, the previous clan leader of the nine-tailed clan, Da Ying, and the spirit ancestor of the heavenly ancestor Daoist sect were the two strongest. However, now that Da Ying is dead, the spirit ancestor has the highest attainments in the soul in the absolute beginning divine tribulation. If she were to take action personally, the risk would naturally be the lowest. Ma Yi smiled. In fact, Da Ying had a good relationship with the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. He was also good friends with Ma Yi. When he first decided to strip Lung Rushuang's soul, Ma Yi wanted to ask Da Ying for help. However, because of Jian Wushuang, he had to give up. He did not expect that the world was unpredictable and that Da Ying was already dead. Moreover, her death was largely caused by Jian Wushuang. However, Da Ying's death was closely related to Jian Wushuang. However, Ma Yi and the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley would not have any prejudice or resentment toward Jian Wushuang after all. Their relationship with Da Ying was not good enough to avenge Da Ying. My young friend, have you prepared the 100-million-year star moon Agarwood? Ma Yi asked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3501 Unfamiliar. I've sent a message to Temple Master Starmoon, and she has sent someone to deliver it. It should be arriving at the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley in a few days, Jian Wushuang said. In that case, it's almost ready. As soon as the star moon Agarwood arrives, we can begin the soul stripping immediately, Ma Yi said. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. 3 days later, the people of the Temporal Temple had arrived at the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. The person who had arrived was Jian Wushuang's subordinate, True Pupil Master. Greetings, Inspector and Honorable Master. True Pupil Master bowed respectfully to Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chunhua. True Pupil Master, thank you for your hard work. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Inspector, this is what Star Moon Temple Master asked me to give you. True Pupil Master gave Jian Wushuang an interspatial ring. The interspatial ring contained the Star Moon Agarwood. Jian Wushuang took it, glanced at it, and handed it to Ma Yi. Senior Ma Yi, how is it? Jian Wushuang asked. This Star Moon Agarwood is more than 200 million years old. It's definitely a top-grade wood, Ma Yi said. Jian Wushuang nodded with satisfaction. Then he asked, True Pupil Master, the Temporal Temple has been quiet during my absence. How is the patrol team? My lord, nothing serious has happened in the Temporal Temple. Even the patrol team has been very relaxed. They sent out a patrol team a while ago, but it was just a small matter and was easily solved. Star Moon Temple Master has already told us that we won't ask you to come out for ordinary matters. As long as it's really important or urgent, we will call you back, True Pupil Master said. Jian Wushuang could not help but smile. He was the 6th inspector of the Temporal Temple, but apart from the first trip to the Purple Star Demon Sect, he was not in the camp for the rest of the time. He was not qualified to be an inspector. However, the higher-ups of the Temporal Temple knew that what he needed the most was to improve his strength. Although it was not an important matter, they would not ask him to help. Inspector, Star Moon Temple Master sent me here for another matter besides handing over the Star Moon Agarwood to you, True Pupil Master suddenly said. Oh, what is it? Jian Wushuang asked. This matter has something to do with Master Consecrator. True Pupil Master looked at Demon Master Chunhua beside him. It has something to do with me, don't tell me. Demon Master Chunhua was stunned for a moment before he revealed an excited look. Could it be that you have found information about the experts left behind by the Purple Star Demon sect? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Demon Master Chunhua came from the Purple Star Demon sect. However, the Purple Star Demon sect had been destroyed 200 million years ago by Flame Saint Master. At its peak, the Purple Star Demon sect was an extremely powerful force and an overlord in the second heaven. It was not much weaker than the Eight Directions Heaven sect in the third heaven. Such a large sect not only had great strength, but also had an extraordinary foundation. Back then, the Flame Saint realm used a lightning-fast method to destroy the Purple Star Demon sect. Although they destroyed the Purple Star Demon sect's headquarters and killed almost all the experts in the Purple Star Demon sect's headquarters, however, those Purple Star Demon sect experts who had been adventuring in the outside world were not killed in that great battle. Although the experts were later hunted by the Flame Saint realm, some of them must have escaped and survived. However, under the pressure of the Flame Saint realm, they had to live in anonymity. After Demon Master Chunhua and Jian Wushuang reached an agreement and saw the light of day again, Demon Master Chunhua became a worshipper of the Temporal Temple. The Temporal Temple immediately began to help Demon Master Chunhua track down the traces of the cultivators left behind by the Purple Star Demon sect. Until now, there was finally news. Our Temporal Temple has indeed found a portion of the experts left behind. And they are now in the second heaven, True Pupil Master said. That's great. Demon Master Chunhua clenched his hands tightly, his eyes filled with joy. Visit Riadel. Me for extra chapters. He had once treated the Purple Star Demon sect as everything. It was precisely because of this that he was willing to be trapped in that secret realm alone for 200 million years. With his talent, 200 million years was a huge delay for him. The destruction of the Purple Star Demon sect had dealt a huge blow to him. Now, he finally received good news. He had found the experts left behind by the Purple Star Demon sect. Chunhua, congratulations. Jian Wushuang smiled and said, "It won't take long for my soul to be extracted. After everything is done here, I'll ask the True Pupil Master to take us with him." Okay. Demon Master Chunhua nodded heavily. Senior Ma Yi, Spirit Ancestor, the Star Moon Agawad has arrived. The rest is up to you, Jian Wushuang said. Ma Yi and Spirit Ancestor looked at each other and nodded. Then they went straight to the love-forgetting peak in the supreme emotion-forgetting valley. In a cave mansion on the mountainside, Jian Wushuang finally saw his wife, Lung Wushuang. She had a familiar face and a cold aura. The peerless beauty in front of him sat calmly on the jade bed. When she saw everyone enter, she slowly opened her eyes, which were cold and emotionless. She glanced at everyone. Of course, she also glanced at Jian Wushuang, but her expression did not change at all. Shuang Jian Wushuang's voice was hoarse, but he immediately shook his head and said, "No, she is not Shuang She only has the same face." Jian Wushuang had long calmed down. He knew very well that the peerless beauty in front of him was indeed not his wife, but a stranger. After all, his wife's memory in her previous life had been completely sealed, but in this life, she was completely unfamiliar and did not know him at all. Even her body was from this life. His wife's real body was not this one, but the one that had been occupied by Lung Rushue in his previous life. That was his wife's real body. Therefore, when Ma Yi proposed to strip her soul, he did not refuse. He was even willing to give up his body in this life. To Jian Wushuang, Lung Rushuang's body in this life, including her consciousness, were extremely unfamiliar. They were not familiar to him. Only by stripping out the memories of his wife's previous life, along with her soul, would it truly belong to his wife. In the future, when he had the opportunity to find Lung Rushuang and seize her body, then his wife would be truly complete. Only then would she be truly complete. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3502 Divestiture. Since everything is in place, Spirit Ancestor, let's begin, Ma Yi said. Millimeter. Spirit Ancestor nodded. Girl, sit down. Don't resist, Ma Yi instructed. Lung Rushuang sat down. Her gaze was calm, and her expression did not change at all. Spirit Ancestor took a deep breath, and then a vast soul power covered Lung Rushuang. Jian Wushuang was not familiar with soul peeling, and his attainments in soul were not high, so he could not help. He could only watch anxiously. Unfortunately, soul peeling was done inside the soul, he could not see anything with the naked eye. But it had to be said that both Ma Yi and Spirit Ancestor had extremely high attainments in soul. It was not that they had not tried soul peeling before, so they were more familiar with the steps. Time continued to pass. After half a day, sweat could be seen on the foreheads of both Ma Yi and Spirit Ancestor. They had no choice but to concentrate on the soul and have a perfect grasp of the soul power. They did not dare to relax even a bit. After a long time, they would naturally be a little tired. But fortunately, everything went extremely smoothly. It's about time. Prepare the star moon agarwood, said the Spirit Ancestor. Ma Yi immediately waved her hand, and 2 star moon agarwood floated out. One of these 2 star moon agarwood came from the supreme emotion-forgetting valley. Although it was also 100 million years old, its volume wasn't too big. And the star moon agarwood from the Spacetime Divine Palace, in terms of volume, it was more than 3 times the size of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley's one, and it was even older. Just a little bit more, and it'll be completely separated. The Spirit Ancestor's expression was very grave. Under her control, Lung Rushuang's soul had already been divided into 2, but these 2 souls had yet to be completely separated. There was still some connection between them. But right at this moment, the Spirit Ancestor's gaze focused, and the soul force that she extended into Lung Rushuang's body suddenly became incomparably warm. This warm soul force was like a mother's hand. It caressed the 2 souls of Lung Rushuang. Then, the 2 souls of Lung Rushuang were completely peeled off. Buzz. A faint cyan light extended out of Lung Rushuang's body. This cyan light was the other soul that had been extracted from Lung Rushuang's body. This soul carried Lung Rushuang's memories from her previous life and was Jian Wushuang's wife's soul. Quick, use the star moon agarwood, Spirit Ancestor shouted. Once the soul was extracted, the 2 souls would be at their weakest stage. They needed to use the star moon agarwood to nourish them. If they were a moment slower, they might cause damage to both of Lung Rushuang's souls. Ma Yi knew this, so she immediately controlled the 2 pieces of star moon agarwood and flew toward Lung Rushuang's body and the extracted soul. The first was the relatively small star moon agarwood. Under Ma Yi's control, it directly transformed into a vast green-colored air current that surged into Lung Rushuang's body. The other large star moon agarwood did not disintegrate. Instead, it appeared beside the green-colored light. After which, the green-colored light seemed to be attracted as it directly merged into the star moon agarwood and disappeared. It worked. Upon seeing this, Ma Yi's eyes lit up. Spirit Ancestor also heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Jian Wushuang, who had been watching the process anxiously from behind, immediately walked over and asked, "Is it over? My dear Heavenly Sword Marquis, I have dissected her soul according to your request. One of the pieces contains the memories of this life and the secret skill she cultivated. The other piece contains the memories of her previous life. It has been dissected and merged with the star moon agarwood," Spirit Ancestor said. At the same time, he brought the star moon agarwood to Jian Wushuang. "Shuang-Er's soul is in the star moon agarwood." Jian Wushuang took the wood and gently stroked it. As he touched it, he immediately felt that the star moon agarwood seemed to have a life of its own. At the same time, his soul power also sensed the soul aura in the star moon agarwood. The soul aura indeed belonged to his wife. It did not contain any impurities, nor did it contain any memories of this life. It was completely the same as the soul aura of his previous life. Visit Ria Me for extra chapters. Shuang-Er, this is my Shuang-Er. Jian Wushuang was extremely excited, but then he frowned and asked, "What's going on? Why hasn't Shuang-Er's consciousness awakened?" Even in the soul state, there was still consciousness. However, at this moment, Jian Wushuang clearly did not sense the existence of Lung Rushuang's consciousness. My dear Heavenly Sword Marquis, what you want is your wife's consciousness from her previous life. Her consciousness and memories from her previous life have always been in a state of deep sleep and had never awakened. Now that her soul has just been stripped, her soul is in an extremely weak stage, so it's even more difficult for her to awaken her consciousness, Spirit Ancestor replied. But don't worry. Even if her consciousness won't wake up for a while, as long as her soul is in the star moon Agarwood and is nourished by it, she will be able to recover her consciousness and her previous memories. As for the time required for this process, it should not be too long. It can be as short as hundreds or thousands of years, or as long as tens of thousands of years. It can definitely be recovered. Is that so? Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. Although his wife's consciousness did not wake up immediately, Jian Wushuang still had some feelings. In any case, his wife's soul had been completely peeled out, and it was only a matter of time before her consciousness woke up. Next, he just needed to find a suitable body for his wife. Jian Wushuang had two choices for this body. One was to find the ice heart glazed jade, which could form a glazed body and perfectly fuse with Lung Rushuang's soul. There would that the ice heart glazed jade was extremely rare, it was not easy to find it. The second method was to find Lung Rushue. Lung Rukshu's body was her own. As long as he found her, erased her consciousness, and let her take over the body again, there would be no incompatibility between the body and the soul. Among the two methods, Jian Wushuang preferred the second one. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 3503 Purple Blood Sect Outside the Valley. Heavenly Marquis, I'll send you here. If you need my help in the future, please feel free to let me know, Ma Yi said with a smile. You're welcome, Senior. If anything happens to the valley in the future, you can look for me. After all, we both have a common enemy, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. He knew that the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley had a great enmity with the Destruction Saint Realm, one of the three Saint Realms. The Destruction Saint Realm was a great enemy of the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. The Destruction Saint Realm had some misgivings because of Ma Yi. However, if one day Ma Yi died, the Destruction Saint Realm would definitely attack the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley without hesitation. Even so, the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley and Jian Wushuang indeed had a common enemy and had a chance to stand on the same side. Spirit Ancestor, I'll have to trouble you this time. Jian Wushuang looked at Spirit Ancestor again. You must be joking. You killed the Bloodmaster for me. I really can't repay your kindness, Spirit Ancestor said with a smile. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they parted ways and left. Ma Yi returned to Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley, and Spirit Ancestor also went to the Heaven Ancestor Daoist sect. As for Jian Wushuang, he went with Demon Master Chunhua and True Pupil Master to the place where the experts left by the Purple Star Demon sect were. On the way, Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chunhua began to ask questions. Of course, True Pupil Master told them everything he knew. Sirs, according to the information from the Temporal Temple, after the destruction of the Purple Star Demon sect, some people were lucky enough to escape and survive. There were more than 100 experts who survived. Later, they gathered together to discuss it, but in the end, they separated because of different opinions, True Pupil Master said. Different opinions? Jian Wushuang was puzzled. It's like this. Among the hundreds of experts who were lucky enough to survive, some of them thought that they were still being hunted by the Flame Saint Realm and that it was not suitable for them to stay in the third heaven. Therefore, they thought that it was most appropriate for them to go into hiding in the Endless Territory. However, if they did so, it would mean that they would not try to rise again in the future. After all, the cultivation environment of the Endless Territories is incomparable to that of the third heaven. If they choose to hide in the Endless Territories, they will only be able to find a place to dominate in the Endless Territories in the future. There is no possibility of them rising up in the third heaven. There are still some people who advocate splitting up and growing up separately. If one of them is lucky enough to become a peak expert in the future, we will organize them and raise them up again. These people are in the minority. After all, there aren't many of them left, and there aren't many who are strong. If they go on their own, it will be too difficult for anyone to become a peak expert. The last group of people chose to stay in the third heaven and remain in the second heaven, right under the eyes of the Flame Saint realm. However, the most dangerous place might be the safest. As long as they carefully conceal their identities, the Flame Saint realm might not be able to find them. Moreover, once the news is out, they could completely change their appearance and create a new faction to pass down the legacy. This way, their chances of rising again in the future would be great. Over 100 people who survived had 3 different opinions. Many people supported these opinions and argued with each other. In the end, they split into 3 groups. Those who went to the Endless Territories went to the Endless Territories, those who went alone, and some stayed in the second heaven. Bastard! Upon hearing this, Demon Master Chanhua was a bit shocked and angry. The sect has already been destroyed. At this time, they still can't unite. There's nothing we can do. After all, those who simply survived, although their strength is different, there aren't any experts who can completely convince others. Without a backbone, it's normal for a few different voices to appear. True Pupil Master said, and later, as they lost their composure and developed, it proved that the final portion of people who chose to stay in the second heaven was correct. They stayed in the second heaven and were not discovered by the Flame Saint realm. First, they kept a low profile and grew stronger. Later on, 3 experts appeared among them. They are Tomb King Chiu Mu, Master Lingfeng, and Skyheart Sword Saint. Among them, Tomb King Chiu Mu has reached the 3rd level of the Void Realm. Master Lingfeng is weaker, but he is also a Principal's Master at the peak of the 2nd level of the Void Realm. As for Skyheart Sword Saint, he is also an invincible saint. As the 3 of them grew stronger, they founded a sect called the Purple Blood Sect. Visit Riadel. Me for extra chapters. Due to the fact that the Purple Blood Sect has 2 Principal's Masters and an invincible saint like the Skyheart Sword Saint, the Purple Blood Sect has attracted many cultivators. Their strength has also gradually grown, and they have gradually established themselves in the second heaven. Although they are not considered the top forces in the second heaven, they can still be considered to be in the middle range. Chiu Mu, Lingfeng, and Skyheart. The Demon Master Chanhua was excited. I could tell that these 3 little fellows were quite talented when they were in the Purple Star Demon sect. They will definitely have great achievements in the future. It seems that this is indeed the case. The 2 of them have become the Principal's Masters, and Skyheart has become an invincible saint. Haha, the Demon Master Chanhua laughed very happily. He had always been worried about whether there were any experts left in the Purple Star Demon sect. He was not confident at all. But now, he finally knew the whereabouts of the experts left behind by the Purple Star Demon sect. And these experts did not disappoint him. Although they were not able to bring the Purple Star Demon sect to rise again, at the very least, they were able to give the Purple Star Demon sect an additional inheritance. This was already very good. Honorable Sir, the Purple Blood sect has existed for a relatively long period of time in the second heavenly layer. Originally, there should not have been any problems. But more than 500 years ago, an unforeseen event occurred. True Pupil Master suddenly said. Something happened? Demon Master Chenhuo's face darkened and his eyes turned cold. What happened? The Purple Blood sect was destroyed, True Pupil Master said. What did you say? Demon Master Chenhuo's face changed dramatically. Jian Wushuang's face also darkened. He knew how important Demon Master Chanhua thought the Purple Star Demon sect was. He was happy when he found out that there were experts from the Purple Star Demon sect who had passed on their inheritance. But now, True Pupil Master said the Purple Blood sect was destroyed. Tell me clearly, True Pupil Master, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. The Purple Blood sect has indeed been destroyed. Our temporal temple hasn't figured out the exact reason, but Tomb King Chiu Mu and Master Lingfeng have been killed. However, Skyheart Sword Saint is still alive, True Pupil Master said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 3504. Blood Origin Domain. Skyheart is still alive. Where is he? Demon Master Chunhua asked. Skyheart Sword Saint is in the Blood Origin Domain of the Second Heaven, True Pupil Master said. Blood Origin Domain? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. The Blood Origin Domain is not a place that specializes in extracting blood origin stones. The vast territory is filled with blood origin stone veins, and the people in the Blood Origin Domain, apart from the soldiers guarding there, are only slaves whose cultivation is suppressed and used to extract blood origin stones. When Jian Wushuang came to the Second Heaven, he had carefully looked at the star map of the territory in the Second Heaven, so he naturally knew about the blood origin field. That territory was very strange in the Second Heaven. It was a huge and boundless blood origin stone lode. Although blood origin stones were not very precious, they were used to refine holy weapons and some special treasures. Moreover, the amount was huge, so the value of this vein was extremely high. As early as 100 million years ago, after this huge vein of blood origin stones was discovered, it was jointly managed by 7 different forces. Because the extraction of blood origin stones required a large amount of manpower, therefore, the 7 great forces would pay a price to buy some slaves and use them to extract blood origin stones. At the same time, the 7 great forces would often suppress the cultivation of those who had a grudge with the 7 great forces and send them to the Blood Origin Domain as slaves. Skyheart Sword Saint, many of the powerful disciples of the Purple Blood Sect were sent to the Blood Origin Domain after the destruction of the Purple Blood Sect. All these years, they have been working as slaves there to mine blood origin stones, True Pupil Master said. How dare you? Demon Master Chen Huo's eyes were cold, and a shocking anger burst out from his body. True Pupil, lead the way immediately. Well, go to the Blood Origin Domain together, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. True Pupil Master nodded. The 3 of them immediately headed straight for the Blood Origin Domain. The Blood Origin Domain was also quite vast. Blood origin stones were everywhere in this great domain. The 7 great factions that controlled the Blood Origin Domain had bought a large number of slaves from various chambers of commerce and other places. They were scattered all over the Blood Origin Domain. These slaves had to mine blood origin stones every day, day and night. It was almost difficult for them to stop and rest. At this moment, somewhere in the Blood Origin Domain, a pitch-black long whip lashed through the air and directly struck the body of a grey-clothed man in front, emitting a clear sound. The grey-clothed man immediately let out a delighted roar. However, the eyes of the soldier holding the long whip were emitting a cold gaze. Pa! 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 The pitch-black long whip was like a venomous snake as it crazily lashed out at the grey-clothed man time and time again. At the same time that the long whip lashed out, the soldier also shouted, "A bunch of lowly slaves, you still dare to slack off? I'll whip you to death." The long whip kept whipping. The grey-robed man's cultivation was suppressed, so he could not use much divine power. In front of the saint-level soldier, he could not resist at all, he could only let the whip hit him time and time again. However, the long whip was the soul-piercing whip that the 7 forces had specially modified. Using the soul-piercing whip to whip the grey-robed man's body would not cause much damage, nor would it cause much pain. However, each whip struck his soul. Each whip made the grey-clothed man's soul hurt. He screamed miserably. The servants around who had the same status as the grey-clothed man were all stiff when they saw this scene, as if they were used to it. Stop! A low roar suddenly sounded. A thin, white-bearded old man with dark skin walked over and pulled the grey-clothed man up. He said in a deep voice, "Sir, this disciple of mine is only a little slow in mining. According to the rules, 3 lashes should be sufficient even if I have to punish him. However, you have already lashed out a total of 9 lashes, causing great damage to his soul. If you continue to whip him, it is likely that his soul will directly collapse and die. Humph, he is merely a lowly slave. So what if he dies?" That soldier coldly laughed. "Old fellow, you want to stand up for him? All right, this father will teach you a lesson again." As he spoke, this soldier once again raised the soul-piercing whip in his hand, intending to lash it at the white-bearded old man. However, At this moment. What is going on? A voice suddenly sounded. Immediately, a green-robed middle-aged man rushed over. Sir Su. Upon seeing this person, all the soldiers present bowed respectfully. The soldier who was holding the soul-piercing whip respectfully said, Sir Su, it is nothing. It is just that there are a few lowly slaves here who are not very obedient. I am currently teaching them a lesson. Teaching them a lesson? The green-robed middle-aged man glanced at the soldier. Do you know who this person is? He is. The soldier revealed a puzzled expression. He is the Grand Elder of the Purple Blood Sect, the famous Skyheart Sword Saint. How can you punish him so easily? The green-robed middle-aged man intentionally reprimanded. He then extended his hand and said, Hand over the soul-piercing whip to me. Yes. The soldier handed the soul-piercing whip to the middle-aged man in the green robe without hesitation. After receiving the soul-piercing whip, the middle-aged man in the green robe looked at the white-bearded old man, who was the Skyheart Sword Saint, with a playful look. Skyheart Sword Saint, do you still recognize me? The Skyheart Sword Saint's face darkened slightly. He did not know the person in front of him. It's normal that you don't know me, but I know you. To be exact, I know that eldest disciple of yours. 15,000 years ago, when I was adventuring outside, I met that eldest disciple of yours and fought with him. In the end, I lost miserably in that battle, and I almost died in his hand. From then on, I swore that as long as there was a chance, I would avenge myself. Unfortunately, I didn't go when your Purple Blood Sect was destroyed, and your eldest disciple died in that battle. I couldn't take revenge on him at all. However, although I can't take revenge on him, if I can take revenge on his master, it will be enough to vent my anger. The green-robed middle-aged man sneered, and his eyes turned cold. Then, hooah, 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 hooah. The pitch-black soul-piercing whip kept lashing at Skyheart Sword Saint. Skyheart Sword Saint's divine power was suppressed, so he could not exert his full strength. Of course, he could not dodge it. The whip lashed at Skyheart Sword Saint's body again and again, causing him severe pain in his soul. However, he gritted his teeth and endured it without shouting. Ha ha ha. You probably didn't expect that even though you're dead, your master, the master you respect the most, would end up in my hands. If I want him to live, he can live. If I want him to die, he has to die. Even if I were to ravage him, he won't be able to struggle at all. Chapter 3505. The Furious Demon Master Chunhua. Haha, this is great, great. The green-robed middle-aged man laughed out loud. There was a hint of madness in his laughter. It could be seen how much hatred he had toward Skyheart Sword Saint's disciple. Now that Skyheart Sword Saint's disciple was dead, he could not take revenge on him. However, if he could take revenge and ravage Skyheart Sword Saint, he would feel even more relieved and comfortable. After all, the Skyheart Sword Saint was an extremely famous invincible saint, and he had only just become a rank 7 true saint. Normally, he would never dare to provoke an existence like the Skyheart Sword Saint. But now, the other party was his prisoner. If he wanted to live, he would live. If he wanted to die, he would die. With such a contrast, the green-robed middle-aged man was very wanton. This was also the reason why the green-robed middle-aged man had paid a huge price in the sect to have the sect transfer him to the Blood Origin domain. Haha, Skyheart Sword Saint, beg for mercy. Kneel in front of me obediently, kowtow and beg for mercy, and I'll let you go. The green-robed middle-aged man laughed wantonly. The soul-piercing whip in his hand did not stop for even a moment. It struck the Skyheart Sword Saint's body time and time again. The intense pain in his soul caused the Skyheart Sword Saint's face to completely distort, however, he still endured it and did not make a sound. As for the surrounding disciples of the Purple Blood Sect, they all clenched their hands tightly. The anger in their hearts surged to the heavens, but they did not dare to flare up. Haha, Skyheart Sword Saint, aren't you going to beg for mercy? The green-robed middle-aged man continued to laugh wantonly. However, suddenly, the laughter of the green-robed middle-aged man suddenly stopped. It was not just his laughter. The movements of his hands also completely stopped. The arrogant look on his face was gradually replaced by an unprecedented fear. The green-robed middle-aged man was extremely terrified. He did not even know where the reason for his fear came from, but he knew that his life force had already begun to drain away. A bloody hole had appeared between his eyebrows. This bloody hole had pierced through his head, and at the same time, it had completely annihilated all the divine power in his body. Without any chance of struggle, the green-robed middle-aged man died on the spot. The sudden change of events shocked everyone in the surroundings. Everyone saw the green-robed middle-aged man turn into an ice-cold corpse, but from the beginning to the end, they did not know what had happened. What happened? Lord Su is dead. How did he die? The soldiers were also at a loss. However, at this moment, Su. Three figures suddenly appeared in front of the green-robed middle-aged man and stood in front of Skyheart Sword Saint. Are you Skyheart? An old but gentle voice sounded. Skyheart Sword Saint, who had suffered an unprecedented pain in his soul and could only grit his teeth to endure it, slowly raised his head when he heard the voice. However, when he raised his head and saw the person who had appeared in front of him, Skyheart Sword Saint's body trembled violently and his eyes widened. Could you be Demon Master Chanhua? Skyheart Sword Saint's voice trembled as he asked. Yes, it's me. Demon Master Chanhua nodded slightly. Demon Master Chanhua, are you really Demon Master Chanhua? You are still alive. Am I dreaming? Skyheart Sword Saint's entire being became excited. He had even completely forgotten the intense pain in his soul. 200 million years ago, when the Purple Star Demon sect was still around, Demon Master Chanhua was already an elder of the Purple Star Demon sect. Furthermore, he was a genius elder. He was astonishingly famous. And at that time, Skyheart Sword Saint was only a core disciple of the Purple Star Demon sect. In terms of seniority, he naturally had to address the Demon Master Chanhua as martial uncle. However, during the battle that destroyed the Purple Star Demon sect, the Demon Master Chanhua stayed in the Purple Star Demon sect. Furthermore, after that battle, there was no news of the Demon Master Chanhua. This made Skyheart Sword Saint believe that the Demon Master Chanhua had died long ago. But today, Skyheart, you have suffered. Demon Master Chenhuo's voice was trembling. But at this time, who dares to be so impudent in the Blood Origin domain? A loud shout suddenly resounded throughout the world. Hundreds of figures swarmed over from the void not far away like wasps. These people were all soldiers guarding the Blood Origin domain. They were not weak, and the leader was a principal's master. As soon as Jian Wushuang and the other two arrived and Demon Master Chanhua killed the green-robed middle-aged man, the high-level experts guarding the Blood Origin domain immediately received the news and rushed over. Although they did not know who had broken into the Blood Origin domain and killed the green-robed middle-aged man, and how strong he was, the Blood Origin domain was jointly controlled by the Seven Forces, and with the Seven Forces working together, the Seven Forces were extremely powerful and could do whatever they wanted in the second heaven. With such a powerful background, they naturally did not have to worry about anything. They had always been extremely overbearing. However, this time, they had clearly raised an iron plate. When the hundreds of figures rushed over, Demon Master Chanhua slowly raised his head and glanced at the void. Then, he slowly raised his head again. A surge of power had begun to gather in his hand. These people are doomed. Jian Wushuang looked at the hundreds of people who rushed over with sympathy. He could see that Demon Master Chanhua was clearly in a rage. Under such a rage, would those people not be courting death if they still came to find him? Sure enough, Demon Master Chanhua directly attacked. He simply waved his right hand toward the void, which swept up a terrifying storm and instantly covered the entire void. There were over 100 figures in the void. Most of them were true saints above rank 6, rank 7, and even peak saints. There was also a principal's master, but in front of this storm, they were all very weak. The void shattered like a piece of paper. Everything in the void was annihilated into dust. The hundreds of experts were naturally annihilated by this storm. Not a single person was left. This scene completely shocked everyone present. With a wave of his hand, hundreds of experts, including a void master, all died. What kind of strength is this? Who is he? Countless terrified voices echoed in everyone's minds. Skyheart Sword Saint was overjoyed when he saw this scene. He immediately knelt down and screamed, "Demon Master Chanhua, you must avenge our Purple Blood Sect, Senior Brother Chiu Mu, and Senior Brother Lingfeng." "Skyheart, don't worry. Sit down and speak slowly." Demon Master Chanhua suppressed the anger in his heart. "Skyheart Sword Saint, your soul has suffered great damage. I have a few elixirs here. Take them first. They will be very helpful to your soul recovery." Jian Wushuang took out a jade bottle and handed it to Skyheart Sword Saint. Chapter 3506, Martial Uncle Chanhua Thank You. Skyheart Sword Saint received the jade bottle and thanked him. Then, he took out a few pills and began to swallow them. After swallowing them, Skyheart Sword Saint's complexion was obviously much better than before. Taking a deep breath, Skyheart Sword Saint said in a low voice, "Martial Uncle, the one who destroyed our Purple Blood Sect was the Kongyin Sect. At the same time, there were experts from the 100 Ghost Sect who helped us." Kongyin Sect. 100 Ghost Sect. The gaze of the Demon Master Chanhua was cold. The Kongyin Sect is one of the 7 major powers that control the Blood Origin domain. Their overall strength can only be considered average. As for the 100 Ghost Sect, they can barely be considered an overlord of a region at the second heaven. Compared to the Blood Marquis Palace, they are only slightly inferior, the true pupil master explained. The Purple Blood Sect is very low-key and does not easily provoke large forces. We have never offended Kongyin Sect or the 100 Ghost Sect. However, I don't know where Kongyin Sect found out that we have a top-tier supreme treasure, so they are coveting it, Skyheart Sword Saint said. Top-tier supreme treasure? Do you have it in the Purple Blood Sect? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, I do. It's a suppression-type supreme treasure. Senior Brother Lingfeng obtained it by chance when he was exploring a secret realm. It's indeed very valuable. I didn't expect that it was this suppression-type supreme treasure that caused the destruction of the Purple Blood Sect. Skyheart Sword Saint clenched his fists, his face also became ferocious. Our Purple Blood Sect is not weak either. Kongyin Sect alone cannot do anything to our Purple Blood Sect. However, Kongyin Sect secretly found the experts of the 100 Ghost Sect and made the 100 Ghost Sect send 3 Principals Masters to join forces with them. They directly charged into our Purple Blood Sect. Our Purple Blood Sect was no match for them. Senior Brother Chiu Mu and Senior Brother Lingfeng died on the spot. Many of their elders and disciples were also killed. Originally, the experts of the Kongyin Sect and the 100 Ghost Sect planned to kill all the cultivators of the Purple Blood Sect. However, because the Blood Origin domain needed some slaves who were responsible for extracting Blood Origin stones, they imprisoned the remaining disciples of the Purple Blood Sect and suppressed their cultivation. Not long after, they were brought to the Blood Origin domain and began to extract Blood Origin stones in the dark. I thought that the remaining disciples of our Purple Blood Sect would slowly die in the Blood Origin domain. I didn't expect you to still be alive, Martial Uncle. Senior Brother Chanhua, you must avenge our Purple Blood Sect, Senior Brother Chiu Mu and Senior Brother Lingfeng. Skyheart Sword Saint shouted mournfully. He was a descendant of the Purple Star Demon Sect. He knew very well that 200 million years ago, when the Purple Star Demon Sect was still around, the Chanhua Demon Master was publicly acknowledged as a genius elder. At that time, he was already an extremely powerful Principal's Master, and now, so many years had passed, so his strength was definitely even more terrifying. This could be seen from the fact that he had just killed over 100 soldiers with a wave of his hand and even killed a Principal's Master. Such a powerful martial uncle gave Skyheart Sword Saint hope of revenge. Don't worry, I will avenge Chiu Mu and Lingfeng. The eyes of the Demon Master Chanhua were burning with anger. Skyheart, gather all the disciples of the Purple Blood Sect. Yes. Skyheart Sword Saint nodded and immediately went to gather them. In a short while, all the disciples of the Purple Blood Sect in the Blood Origin domain had gathered here. At a glance, there were no less than 1,000 of them. Most of these disciples were weaker. The stronger ones had already been killed by the Kongyin sect. The reason why they did not kill Skyheart Sword Saint was because the Kongyin sect wanted to better control these people. They were just extracting the blood origin stones for them. These disciples were all gathered here, but all of them had blank expressions on their faces. They had already learned that someone had come to save them. And the person who had come was the martial uncle of the Skyheart Sword Saint, an extremely ancient and powerful principles master. But they were very unfamiliar with the demon master Chunhua himself. They had never heard the Skyheart Sword Saint or Chiu Mu or the Lingfeng master mention such a martial uncle before. At the same time, they also had a trace of doubt in their hearts. Could the martial uncle of the Skyheart Sword Saint really save them? One had to know that the blood origin domain was jointly controlled by the 7 great powers, and the 7 great powers could basically do whatever they wanted in the second heaven. Even some of the extremely powerful sects in the second heaven did not dare to provoke the 7 great powers easily. It was not easy for the 7 forces to let them go. These disciples' doubtful eyes were also noticed by Demon Master and Jian Wushuang. Are they all here? Demon Master's face was a little gloomy. They are all here. Skyheart Sword Saint nodded. There were tens of thousands of disciples under the Purple Blood sect, but more than half of them were killed and many escaped during the sect extermination battle. In the end, only about 2,000 people were brought to the blood origin domain by the suppression of their cultivation. However, after more than 500 years, many of these disciples chose to end their lives because they could not bear the life of mining blood origin stones in the dark and the oppression and humiliation of the sergeants. Those who are still alive are those who are more determined and desire to live. It's been hard on all of you. Demon Master Chunhua nodded slightly. Don't worry. Since I am here, I will not let you suffer. I will not let any sect or faction bully you. These words caused the hearts and bodies of the disciples of the Purple Blood sect to tremble. Honorable Master, these people's cultivation has been suppressed, and their suppression techniques are not weak. Even experts above the Principal's master level can only help them break the suppression one by one to restore their strength, True Pupil Master said. True Pupil Master, I'll have to trouble you with this. Jian Wushuang glanced at True Pupil Master. Yes. True Pupil Master nodded without any reluctance. It was not difficult for Principal's Master to come into contact with the suppression techniques of these people one by one. It would only take a little effort and time, but there was no other cost. Of course, True Pupil Master was not reluctant. Skyheart, you tell them to wait here and ask True Pupil Master to restore their cultivation one by one. And you, come with me to Kongyin sect now, Demon Master Chunhua said coldly. Now! Skyheart Sword Saint was stunned for a moment and then revealed an ecstatic expression. Jian Wushuang instructed again, True Pupil Master, let's go to the Kongyin sect. As for the disciples of the Purple Blood sect, I'll leave them to you. You must ensure their safety. Don't worry, sir. With me around, no one will be able to hurt them again, True Pupil Master said with a smile. Chapter 3507, Slaughter. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He was more at ease with the True Pupil Master. First of all, the True Pupil Master was a Principal's Master in the 3 realms of the Void, and he was extremely powerful. Second, the True Pupil Master came from the Temporal Temple, and the 7 forces that controlled the blood origin domain did not dare to act rashly just because of his identity. With him protecting the disciples of the Purple Blood sect, no one from the 7 forces would dare to touch them. Let's go. Demon Master Chunhua said. Immediately, Jian Wushuang, Demon Master Chunhua, and Skyheart Sword Saint flew directly toward the nest of the Kongyin sect. The nest of the Kongyin sect was not far from the blood origin domain, so it did not take long for the 3 of them to arrive. Looking at the bustling sect in front of them, a shocking killing intent surged from Demon Master Chenhuo's eyes. Skyheart, you stay here and watch, Demon Master Chunhua instructed. Then he looked at Jian Wushuang and said, Heavenly Sword Marquis, take care of him for me. No problem. Jian Wushuang nodded. Immediately, Demon Master Chunhua charged directly toward the base of the Kongyin sect. Sir, Uncle Master is alone. Is it okay for him to charge into the lair of the Kongyin sect? Skyheart Sword Saint was a little worried at first. Jian Wushuang smiled and said, "Don't worry. Let alone the Kongyin sect, even if 10 of them were to be tied together, they would not be enough in front of Chanhua. Just watch." Just as Jian Wushuang said, a mere Kongyin sect had no room to struggle in front of the supreme strength of Demon Master Chanhua. Demon Master Chanhua punched out casually, and the protection formation of the Kongyin sect collapsed. Demon Master Chanhua charged into the Kongyin sect without any hindrance. When the protection formation was broken, the experts of the Kongyin sect were naturally shocked and furious. One after another, experts rose up. The Devil Master did not waste any words on these experts of the Kongyin sect. He directly attacked and began the slaughter. He first appeared in front of the strongest sect master of the Kongyin sect. With a brutal punch, this peak 3rd level Void Realm sect master was instantly killed. He did not even have the slightest chance to struggle. As for the other experts of the Kongyin sect, they were like ants in front of the Demon Master. They were completely massacred. Slaughtered, completely slaughtered. Although the Kongyin sect's foundation was not ordinary and their strength was not weak, and they had 5 principals masters, they were still nothing in front of the Demon Master Chanhua. In the blink of an eye, 4 of the 5 principals masters of the Kongyin sect were killed by the Demon Master Chanhua. The remaining principals master, as well as the other disciples of the Kongyin sect, were all scared out of their wits. They all started to flee frantically. The entire Kongyin sect was in a mess. Countless figures were fleeing frantically, not daring to come into contact with the killing god in the void. Seeing this scene, Jian Wushuang could not help but sigh. It's rare to see Chanhua start a massacre. It seems that he's really angry. The Kongyin sect is doomed. After sighing, Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. It's fine if the disciples of the Kongyin sect are weak and are at the bottom, but it's better not to keep those strong mainstays. Jian Wushuang smiled and casually waved his hand. A vast power of space-time principles instantly swept out. He directly used the golden sky painting flag. Not only did Jian Wushuang restrict the space-time around him, but he also immediately released a huge space-time binding force that swept toward the immortal saints of the Kongyin sect who were at the top level. With Jian Wushuang's current strength, using the golden sky painting flag to bind the immortal saint was a little overkill. Even though there were a lot of people bound, it was easy for Jian Wushuang. In a flash, the upper-level experts of the Kongyin sect were bound and could hardly move. Demon Master Chanhua did not refuse Jian Wushuang's good intentions. He started a massacre on these people whom he usually did not even bother to look at. Because of Demon Master Chanhuo's slaughter, the Kongyin sect had been turned into a sea of blood. It was a terrible sight. Jian Wushuang just looked at the surrounding void indifferently. Skyheart Sword Saint was shocked, but more than that, he felt happy to take revenge. At this moment, Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. He had noticed that a large number of experts were rushing over from the surrounding void. There were nearly 20 of them, with most of them being principals masters. There are nearly 20 principals masters. In the second heaven, there shouldn't be any sect or force that can take action. And now, if I'm not mistaken, they should be the other 6 forces that control the blood origin domain, Jian Wushuang muttered. He had already looked in that direction. It's the experts from the other 6 forces. Skyheart Sword Saint immediately became nervous. He had heard that the 7 forces that controlled the blood origin domain were usually united against a common enemy. Whoever provoked one of the forces was equivalent to provoking all of them. Because of their unity, they were able to occupy the blood origin domain and run amok in the second heaven. This time, the 6 forces had rushed over because they had received a request for help from the Kongyin sect. However, when they rushed over, the Kongyin sect had already turned into a sea of blood that filled the sky. Meanwhile, the Demon Master Chanhua, who was in the middle of the sea of blood, was still slaughtering crazily to vent his anger. This is the Kongyin sect. Who is that person? What did he do to the Kongyin sect? The principals masters from the 6 forces looked at the sea of blood in horror. However, before they could get close to the sea of blood, Jian Wushuang had already stood in front of them and blocked their way. Everyone, let me give you a piece of advice. Go back to where you came from. It's better for you not to get involved in the affairs of the Kongyin sect today, Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Seeing Jian Wushuang blocking in front of them, especially when he sensed the aura emanating from Jian Wushuang's body, he was merely a saint. A principal's master in the third realm of the void realm from the 6 major forces, he immediately shouted, "How dare a mere saint block our way? Get out of my way!" Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold, but the Blood Mountain sword behind him was instantly unsheathed. Whoosh! A sword light streaked across the void like a bolt of lightning and struck toward the principal's master. The principal's master's expression changed. He tried to block the attack, but the sword light was not blocked at all. It flew past the principal's master's body. It shattered the principal's master's divine body at once. Jian Wushuang did not kill him, but the principal's master's divine power was not completely destroyed. You'd better be careful. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. Jian Wushuang's cold voice slowly echoed in the world. Chapter 3508. Terror. How is this possible? The principal's master of the third level of the void space realm, who had his godly body destroyed by a single sword, was waiting with his eyes wide open in disbelief. He was not the only one. The nearly 20 principal's masters around him were all in a daze. A saint used a single sword to destroy the godly body of a third level of the void realm principal's master? What kind of strength is this? He must have at least the battle strength of the 5 void realms, and he is probably not weak among them. He is just a saint, but his battle strength is comparable to the principal's masters of the 5 void realms. He is Heavenly Sword Marquis. Only Heavenly Sword Marquis can do this in the divine beginning realm. Heavenly Sword Marquis? The expressions of the nearly 20 principal's masters from the 6 major forces began to change after they understood Jian Wushuang's identity. At the same time, they had also heard that Heavenly Marquis' sword had turned the demon realm upside down in the third heaven. At the same time, he had been accompanied by a super expert with terrifying strength, an expert who had reached the pinnacle of the 6 realms of the void. This expert, everyone could not help but look at Demon Master Chanhua, who was still slaughtering crazily in the Kongyin sect. In the next moment, the 20 principal's masters all shuddered. You should be experts from the other 6 forces that control the blood origin domain, right? Jian Wushuang's voice was heard at this moment. You should be young friend Heavenly Sword Marquis, right? Among the nearly 20 principal's masters, the strongest and most senior white-haired elder said. This white-haired elder had clearly reached the 4th realm of the void realm. However, he did not dare to put on airs in front of Jian Wushuang. It's me. Jian Wushuang admitted his identity directly, then he asked, if I'm not mistaken, you must be here for the Kongyin sect. But I'm sorry to tell you that from today on, there will be no more Kongyin sect in the divine beginning realm. As for the 7 forces that originally controlled the blood origin domain, there will only be 2 from now on. Do you have any objections to this? No, of course not. The white-haired elder quickly shook his head. The Kongyin sect has been very extreme and arrogant over the years. The 6 forces have long been dissatisfied with it, but we didn't expect the Kongyin sect to be so bold and provoke you. It's a disaster. You really know how to talk. Jian Wushuang smiled. But you're wrong about one thing. The Kongyin sect has never provoked me. It provoked Demon Master Chanhua, who is by my side. I know Chenhuo's temper. He disdains to lower himself to attack weaker cultivators and even some principal's masters. But this time, he has started a massacre. You can imagine his anger. As far as I know, the 6 forces might not be able to get away with this. What? The expression of the white-haired elder and the other principal's masters of the 6 forces changed drastically. The 6 forces could not get away from this incident. Could it be that after the Demon Master had massacred the Kongyin sect, he would attack the 6 forces again? Thinking of this, the principal's masters of the 6 forces became nervous and terrified. Seeing the change in the expression of the principal's masters, Jian Wushuang smiled and glanced at Skyheart Sword Saint behind him. Skyheart Sword Saint, come here first. My lord. Skyheart Sword Saint came to Jian Wushuang and bowed to him respectfully. At the same time, he was shocked. At first, he thought that Jian Wushuang was the disciple of Demon Master Chanhua when he saw his uncle master together with Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang's aura was only at the saint level. But now, Jian Wushuang had defeated a principal's master of the three void realms with a single strike. Such strength really scared him. He now truly understood Jian Wushuang's identity. At the same time, he also knew that Jian Wushuang was not his martial uncle's disciple, but had a deeper relationship with his martial uncle. Do you all recognize Skyheart Sword Saint? Jian Wushuang looked at the principal's masters in front of him with interest. Skyheart Sword Saint. Skyheart Sword Saint of the Purple Blood Sect. The Purple Blood Sect was destroyed by the Kong Yin sect more than 500 years ago. Moreover, many disciples of the Purple Blood Sect were arranged to mine blood origin stones in the blood origin domain. Could it be? Seeing Skyheart Sword Saint, the principal's masters immediately understood. Jian Wushuang smiled and said, "Let me tell you first. Chanhua is Skyheart Sword Saint's uncle, and the Purple Blood Sect where Skyheart Sword Saint is a legacy of the Purple Star Demon Sect many years ago. After the Kong Yin sect destroyed the Purple Blood Sect, they are destined to be killed by Chanhua. As for how you six forces should deal with them, it depends on Chanhua." Upon hearing this, the experts of the six forces became even more terrified. They had no choice. An expert at the pinnacle of the six realms of the void was not someone they could afford to provoke. Just like how Demon Master Chanhua had annihilated the Kong Yin sect, Demon Master Chanhua could also easily wipe out the six forces. Soon, the slaughter in the Kong Yin sect was almost over, and Demon Master Chanhua slowly walked out of the Blood Sea. Jian Wushuang could not help but glance at the Kong Yin sect when he saw Demon Master Chanhua coming out, but he nodded secretly. He had been paying attention to it. Although Demon Master Chanhua was slaughtering crazily, most of the people he was slaughtering were the high-level experts of the Kong Yin sect. As for the weaker disciples, they were at the bottom of the hierarchy. However, he did not kill or chase them. Compared to the Kong Yin sect's direct destruction of the Purple Blood Sect and the capture of all the remaining disciples of the Purple Blood Sect to the Blood Origin domain, the Kong Yin sect was much more merciful. Even though there were still many weaker disciples left, the Kong Yin sect was completely finished without the support of high-level experts. Uncle Master. Skyheart Sword Saint hurriedly bowed respectfully when he saw Demon Master Chanhua walking over. "Chanhua, the people from the six major forces have arrived," Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Demon Master Chanhua's eyes were cold and still filled with a shocking killing intent as he swept his gaze across the bodies of the principal's masters. All the principal's masters who were swept by the gaze of the Demon Master Chanhua felt their hearts tremble. "Skyheart, let me ask you, have these six great powers ever persecuted the Purple Blood Sect?" The Demon Master Chanhua asked. "Martial Uncle, the ones who destroyed our Purple Blood Sect back then were the Kong Yin sect and 100 Ghost sect. As for these six great powers, they didn't act. However, these six great powers and the Kong Yin sect jointly control the Blood Origin domain. After the surviving disciples of our Purple Blood Sect were captured and brought to the Blood Origin domain, the soldiers of these six great powers also bullied us many times. Many of our disciples chose to end their lives because they couldn't endure their misery. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.